Part 147. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1461. This he Xianguan, can he actually have such strength? Zuyun managed to stabilize his body with great difficulty, and was secretly amazed in his heart. Fortunately, he Xianguan's move was just to deal with the formation, not to attack him, so Zuyun was not hurt. However, the Dozhuan Xinyi formation also had cracks because of this. The formation pattern hidden in the void was damaged, causing the stars that rushed straight to lose their direction, and he Xianguan also escaped from the formation. Want to escape? As soon as he Xianguan appeared, Zuyun immediately locked his position and blasted out without hesitation. Chaos Palm. The chaos power of a lotus heart in the body was quickly drawn out, and immediately formed a huge palm, which slapped he Xianguan fiercely. Unexpectedly, he Xianguan was extremely fast, and he had hidden in the fairy mist in the blink of an eye. Zuyun's palm immediately missed. After the formation was destroyed, the fairy mists around quickly surged in and filled the sky again, leaving Zuyun helpless. But the aura of he Xianguan seems to be the same as before. Could it be that he was not the one who broke through the fairy route before? Zuyun frowned slightly, staring at the fairy mist. The fairy mist slowly flowed, and there was no movement after he Xianguan hid in it. The Dozhuan Xinyi formation has been broken. If I use the same trick again, it will not have any effect. Instead of staying here and wasting time staring at him, it is better to go back and deal with the disaster of the fairy country. After the Qingping fairy country is resolved and the world is connected to the universe, even if he Xianguan is very capable, he can't escape from this world. Zuyun weighed the pros and cons in his heart and retreated back to the broken immortal river. However, he still kept a watchful eye and laid a Dozhuan Xinyi formation composed of dozens of spirit stones at the entrance of the broken immortal river. Even if the fairy mist continued and finally merged into the broken fairy river, Zuyun tried his best to stop he Xianguan. However, he didn't know that after escaping into the fairy mist, he Xianguan immediately used his fairy root talent to enter the broken fairy river before Zuyun, and was now madly fleeing towards the Demon Dragon Valley along the broken fairy river. After seeing Zuyun's mysterious formation, how could he dare to stay here? In order to get away, he paid the price of his top-grade fairy route falling to the middle grade. If he wanted to return to the top-grade fairy route again, he could only collect some materials again. He knew that Zuyun would definitely take action with such a scheming mind, so he hid in the fairy mist and quickly escaped into the broken fairy river. And Zuyun didn't notice all this. An hour later, he Xianguan emerged from the river section of the Demon Dragon Valley, stared deeply at the mountain forest, and finally set his sights on the yellow sand desert. I'm afraid Zuyun couldn't think of hiding from the demonized demon dragon, right? The eyes of the river immortal official flashed with murderous intent. After landing, he ran away. He didn't know what the situation was in the imperial city. But whether it was the 10 immortal kings or the great knight immortal king in the palace, they would all be his enemies. If he went out, he would definitely die. Now, only the yellow sand Gobi desert was his place to stay, which would be relatively safer. As long as he waited until the storm was over, he could go out along the broken immortal river again and finally collect the materials he needed for another breakthrough. Not long after the river immortal official left, Zuyun also popped up from this position. The surroundings were extremely quiet, but Zuyun didn't notice that there were 2 more footprints on the yellow sand Gobi desert. Thinking of the demon dragon king in his heart, Zuyun rushed into the forest without hesitation. Returning to the location where the formation was set up, Zuyun's face changed. The formation was destroyed, and there was chaos all around, as if a tragic battle had been fought. The Dragon King was not there either, and there was also a footprint on the ground. Did the river immortal official take action? Zuyun could not help but doubt that the Dozhuan Xinyi formation he had set up with so many spirit stones was also destroyed by the river immortal official. Now seeing this situation again, it was natural to think so. He frowned, looking for clues on the ground, and finally his eyes fell on the depths of the forest. Could it be that he took advantage of the Dragon King's serious injury and forced him to hide in the depths? Zuyun took a deep breath, his eyes were like a ruler, and after thinking for a moment, he followed the footsteps and followed into the forest. Imperial City. The immortal emperor looked very ugly. Hundreds of thousands of corpses in the city were piled up outside the palace without anyone to deal with them. They were originally the immortals of the immortal kingdom, and they were all descendants of the immortals who were originally protected by the Tianji immortal section. Now, they have been framed by those unscrupulous people and have embarked on a road of no return. The immortal emperor murmured. What made him most uncomfortable was the other immortals in the imperial city. Everyone was in danger and hid in the house to watch the excitement, not caring about what would happen to the imperial palace in the end. They were more or less related to the Ji family. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were a branch of the Tianji immortal sect. Immortal Emperor, there is no need to say so much now. Earlier, on the way here, we had already found the place where those immortal kings gathered. Should we kill them, or? The water incarnation said coldly at the side. 100 miles away, he could still see hundreds of thousands of immortals. Zuyun, killing them will not solve the problem. If you want to kill, you have to kill the 10 immortal kings. But if you move the immortal kings, those immortals will definitely move. If so many people die in Qingping immortal kingdom, the vitality will be greatly damaged. The immortal emperor looked at Zuyun, his eyes full of sorrow. He couldn't bear it, nor did he want to. If you don't kill them, they will kill you instead. The water incarnation's face was still cold, and he could see through the situation here more clearly. In fact, there is another way. The immortal emperor looked at the water incarnation deeply, and said, it can make these immortal kings retreat when they see the difficulty. When we go over, they surrender without fighting, and the matter will be solved. Retreat when they see the difficulty. Zuyun showed a sarcastic smile on his face. You don't want those immortals to die, unless you use absolute strength. Recalling everything that the original body did in Daoking City before, isn't it the case? But as long as they are human, whether they are immortals or spiritual world cultivators, they have a temperament. Their courage will grow with the number of people. The nearly 800,000 immortals are probably the same. And these immortals also gave the 10 immortal kings confidence. No, the immortal emperor shook his head and said meaningfully, since you can dispel the demonized minds of the snake monsters and make them return to normal, it explains everything. Shui Huashan's heart moved, and said, you mean, to use the heavenly fate monster clan? Yes, the immortal emperor's expression began to become solemn, and said, I don't know how many monsters there are in the immortal kingdom, but there must be more than people. Moreover, these immortals have a certain fear of monsters. If the number of monsters increases, naturally. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1462. The water incarnation immediately understood what the immortal emperor meant. Their people, even if all the immortals in Daoking City were gathered together, would not exceed 500,000 in total. Compared with the 800,000 strong army, there was still a big gap. Moreover, in this situation, they still needed to defend the city to reduce the numerical disadvantage. But if they did not take the initiative to attack, they would always be at a disadvantage, and this trouble would never be solved. Not to mention, there was also a river immortal official who had gone to hide somewhere unknown. This forced the immortal emperor to deal with it carefully. I understand, but it won't work with my incarnation. I need the body. The immortal emperor already knew that Zuyun was in the Demon Dragon Valley. He was silent for a moment and said, in the short term, there will be no accidents in the palace. You go find the body, and I will take advantage of this time to calculate the gathering place of the destiny monsters. The water incarnation did not hesitate, because Zuyun originally wanted to subdue all the monsters in Qingping Immortal Kingdom. This is the great universe world, and he needs someone who can be completely trusted to become the guardian of this world. The totem pole is under his control. Naturally, these monsters are extremely loyal. The two people's ideas just coincide. Then I will go to find the main body, and you help me calculate where the monsters are. That's right. The two hit it off, and the water incarnation immediately flew towards the broken immortal river, but before it arrived, Xiaolu chased closely. Master, I have something to say. He landed on the ground with Xiaolu in human form, and saw a cunning look on his face. He leaned over and whispered, Master, didn't you dislike these monsters? Otherwise, I let these monsters attack the army. It's just right to kill people with a borrowed knife to eliminate future troubles. You, the water incarnation, smiled indifferently and asked, do you think that in order to help the immortal emperor, I have to kill those rebellious immortals? Ah, isn't it? Xiaolu was stunned, and then said, what about these monsters? He knew that Zuyun didn't like monsters, and he didn't ask him anything about monsters. But since he met the Thorn Demon, Zuyun had a new idea, which was also a purpose that the water incarnation knew. You just need to guard the palace. I will have great use for those monsters in the future. Remember, those monsters will be your capable men in the future, and you have to tame them well. This. Xiaolu stared, not agreeing outright, but also knowing that he seemed unable to refuse. Watching the water incarnation jump into the broken immortal river, Xiaolu scratched his head and returned to the highest platform of the palace. Green-skinned ghost, what did Zuyun tell you? The Queen of Phoenix got the instruction of Sun Qiniang and flew to Xiaolu and asked. Red-haired chicken, it's none of your business. Xiaolu said sarcastically without hesitation. If the Queen of Phoenix was not Sun Qiniang's pet, he would have let her taste a little green in the red bush. Seeing such inhumanity, Sun Qiniang summoned the Queen of Phoenix back, but she stared at the broken immortal river, thinking about something. A few hours later, the water incarnation appeared in the Demon Dragon Valley. Why is the main body in the forest? Have the problems here been solved? The Demon Dragon Valley is very large, but the water incarnation and Zuyun sensed their respective positions. Come back quickly. Feeling the call of the main body, the water incarnation did not think much and ran towards Zuyun. Half an hour later, the water incarnation merged into Zuyun's body and knew what had happened during this period. The imperial city is safe, but I didn't expect the immortal emperor to help calculate the location of the monster beast. Zuyun frowned. He did not find the location of the Demon Dragon King, nor did he find the owner of the footsteps. The forest in the Demon Dragon Valley was filled with demonic energy, and there was a hint of real dragon energy, which hindered his soul from searching. Forget it, in comparison, Qingping Immortal Kingdom is more important. Zuyun's eyes flashed with a trace of desolation. It was not that he was ruthless. The Demon Dragon King saved his life, but he could not find the Demon Dragon King back. Wait until I merge Qingping Immortal Kingdom and the Great Universe World, River Immortal Officer. I will trap you in this broken immortal river forever, and you will be tortured by the broken immortal river water every day. After Zuyun remembered it in his heart, he ran towards the broken immortal river. When he returned to the palace again, several hours had passed. Zuyun found the immortal emperor without saying a word. He didn't even go to talk to Dago and Ergo. Zuyun, follow the southwest direction, go all the way, within 3,000 miles, there are 7 gathering places. The immortal emperor opened his eyes very tiredly, took out a map, and drew a straight line on it. And then, he marked 7 points on this line. The most are as big as 1,000, and the least are dozens. The monsters are not gathered in one tribe. Like the Lingxi demon dragon, the population gathers in the mine cave in the territory of Daoqing City. But it does not mean that there are no Lingxi demon dragons in other places. There are only 5 tribes in the 7 points marked by the Immortal Emperor. The Immortal Kingdom is so large that there are many places where monsters gather. But it is not as isolated as the Monster Dragon Valley. Zuyun put away the map and said, "Immortal Emperor, since you can calculate the places where monsters gather, why haven't you calculated where the Monster Dragon Valley is?" The Immortal Emperor smiled bitterly and said, "Do you know why there are only 1,000 monsters at most in the 7 points I pointed out?" Zuyun was stunned and asked in shock, "Is it possible that you can't calculate the number exceeding 1,000? The Immortal Emperor nodded helplessly and said, "Destiny Demon Clan, that is destiny. This is just one direction, and my immortal roots are already extremely tired. However, it will be good to rest for a few days. When you come back, I can already find a route for you. As long as you can gather 100,000 monsters, you can definitely solve the current situation." Zuyun nodded and said, "I understand. You guard the Imperial City and leave the rest to me." Taking out the flying boat, Zhu Yonggong stepped on it, but saw Lengbing rushing over. "Best wishes, fellow Taoist, wait a minute." Zhu Yun turned around and asked doubtfully, "What is this, fellow Taoist Leng?" "Hey," Lengbing winked, "wish you, fellow Taoist, a chance to speak." Zhu Yun understood and said, "Do you want to use the Thorn Demon?" "I hope fellow Taoist has misunderstood. Traveling with you is indeed related to stabbing the demon, but more importantly, I can be of great help to you." "What do you mean?" "Friend Deist, after spending a few days here, I finally know where this place is, and combined with the monsters I encountered, I also have a vague idea of what it is. If you take it with you, there will be surprises." Zuyun laughed and said, "Fellow Deist Leng has won my heart, so let's go together." "Easy to say, easy to say. I will definitely not disappoint fellow Taoist Zhu." Lengbing was overjoyed, stepped on the flying boat, and then sat quietly in a corner, while the Thorn Demon leaned down, as if falling asleep. Zuyun knew that the strip. Maybe it's not that simple anymore. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1463. Lengbing's purpose is the source of the demonic energy behind the demonized beast. It is true that the use of totem poles can dissolve the demonic energy in these monsters, allowing them to return to normal and be used by Zuyun. But Lengbing wants to get more pure demonic energy. It's the extraterrestrial demons who drove these monsters to become demonic. Through the Thorn Demon, he can learn more information about the extraterrestrial demon. And those extraterrestrial demons that can stay are usually not strong enough. If they can be killed, for Lengbing, his strength will also be greatly improved. But for now, Lengbing is still trustworthy. Moreover, the other party has already reached the stage of transcending tribulation. If he gets the help of pure demonic energy, he may be able to deal with evil cultivators when he returns to the spirit world. The first location arrived quickly. This is a small valley. From a high position, not only Zuyun discovered the location of those monsters, but even the Thorn Demon beside Lengbing raised his head. "Go down together." Zuyun raised his eyebrows and said, "Walk." Lengbing could not suppress a look of excitement on his face. Zuyun smiled slightly and drove the flying boat down. As soon as it landed, the Thorn Demon ran straight out like a hound. "Follow me quickly," the Thorn Demon said. "There are indeed monsters there." Lengbing shouted urgently and hurriedly followed, much faster than Zuyun. Zuyun followed closely and said, "Don't hurt those monsters." On the flying boat, they were far away, and they could only feel the presence of demon power here. As for which demon clan it was, they still needed to come down to find it. For so many years in Qingping Fairy Kingdom, no one has been able to take the initiative to find the place where the monster beasts gather. Otherwise, they would not have no way to deal with the beast tide. But now with the stinging demon, you can find the source through pure demonic energy, and the problem is easily solved. Although Leng Bing's realm is high and his speed is fast, Zuyun has locked his energy on the stabbing demon, so he doesn't have to move so fast. After chasing into the valley, the thorn demon suddenly stopped, and then roared directly ahead. Roar! The sound echoed in the valley, and soon, a huge boulder shook under a mountain wall. The two of them immediately cast their eyes over it. Click! Click! The boulder began to sway from side to side. It was obvious that there was space below, and it might even be the lair of those monsters. But suddenly, Zuyun felt a demonic force coming from under his feet. He was startled, stood up from the ground, and jumped into the air. Lengbing and Thorn Demon discovered the abnormality almost at the same time. Lengbing also jumped up, but Thorn Demon jumped to the side. Boom! At this moment, several snake demons suddenly jumped out from where they were standing. They spit out scarlet snake letters and their eyes are red. They are indeed demonic snake monsters. The ground was filled with mud and gravel, and the three snake monsters were over a foot long. Although they were only as thick as arms, they could swallow them in one gulp after opening their mouths. Careful! Zuyun reminded him and suddenly took out the snake head pillar from the ring. Moment! The stone-carved demon snake on the snake head pillar opened its eyes and shot golden light towards the three snake demons. The snake demon was hit by the golden light, and his body immediately froze. At the same time, his body could no longer resist the force, and he fell straight from the mid-air. Zuyun glanced over, and finally looked at the snake demon attacking towards the thorn demon, but inadvertently, he saw that the thorn demon continued to rush towards the boulder. Bang! With a loud noise, the boulder was smashed into pieces by the thorn demon, revealing a cave leading to the ground. Before Zuyun could react, the thorn demon had gone straight into it. Bless you, fellow Taoist, there is an extraterrestrial demon below, the thorn demon, and I will take the first step. Lengbing's figure flashed and he followed the thorn demon into the cave. Only Zuyun was left holding the snake head pillar, which was constantly emitting golden light. At the same time, a steady stream of snake demons swam out of the holes drilled out by the three snake demons, and every time one appeared, a golden light shone out from the snake eyes of the snake head pillar and enveloped the snake demons. In just one moment of burning incense, hundreds of snake demons have already emerged from this place. They lay on the ground, motionless, quietly receiving the golden light. It wasn't until the scarlet in their eyes receded and they returned to their original wisdom that they would cross their bodies and raise their snake heads, looking at the snake head pillar with incomparable awe. Finally, another half-hour passed and all the snake demons recovered their intelligence. Zuyun counted them and found that there were more than 300 snake demons in total. But the overall strength of these snake demons is not too strong. Among them, there are even ones as thick as a little finger. This made Zuyun feel helpless. You guys should take a good rest here and don't wander around. Zuyun held the snake head pillar and landed quietly, and all the snake monsters nodded. It hasn't even reached the stage of transformation yet. He sighed softly. During the transformation stage, he could transform into a human form, but before reaching the transformation stage, he could not speak human words. Fortunately, he could still understand Zuyun's words. The light of the snake head pillar weakened a little, and gradually returned to silence. And there was some movement coming from underground. Has the thorn demon found the extraterrestrial demon? Zuyun thought to himself, but he was not sure for a while. The movement was not big yet. And since Lengbing dared to bring the thorn demon out, he must have made complete preparations. It's better to wait. But this wait passed overnight. At dawn the next day, Leng Bing walked out of the underground cave with the stabbing demon covered in blood. Ha ha ha, congratulations to fellow Taoist, let's go to the next place. Listening to Leng Bing's generous laughter, Zuyun knew that Leng Bing had gained something, and it was not cheap. Fellow Taoist Leng, is the stabbing demon okay? Zuyun quietly looked at it with the Pakuling Eye technique. Although the thorn demon was injured, his overall aura had become much stronger, which made him slightly worried. He doesn't understand the magic skills that Leng Bing has learned, nor does he understand the method of controlling beasts with this magic skills. It's okay, Leng Bing laughed, bless you, fellow Taoist, let's go. Zuyun paid attention secretly, then nodded and told these snake demons to continue waiting here. He put away the totem pole and headed to the next gathering place of demon beasts. For several days in a row, Zuyun and Leng Bing cleared all the way and finally captured the gathering points of 7 monsters. Leng Bing's aura was a bit disordered, but on the other hand, the stabbing demon's aura became stronger the more seriously he was injured. When he was about to come back, Zuyun pulled Leng Bing aside. Fellow Taoist Leng, with all due respect. With the method you have learned to control beasts, will it be possible that the beasts will turn against you? Leng Bing was stunned and said, Friend Zhu, are you afraid that the thorn demon will escape my control? Exactly, Zuyun said without hesitation, I am an outsider in the strip. I can see that the thorn demon is getting stronger and stronger, but looking at you. Ha ha ha, Leng Bing laughed loudly, and then whispered, don't worry, fellow Taoist, I will naturally pay attention to this extraterrestrial demon. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzhuan Xianxia. Chapter 1464. Having said this, there was no point for Zuyun to continue. So he returned to the flying boat and gave directions to the monsters, asking them to go to other gathering points of monsters, meet up one by one, and finally go to the Imperial City. Then, Zuyun also passed the other 6 locations again, repeated the same words 6 times, and finally rushed back to the Imperial City in a hurry. Here, the Immortal Emperor had already calculated several places where monsters gathered, so Zuyun took Leng Bing and rushed there without stopping. 100 miles away, the coalition forces of the 10 cities did not make any unusual movements. Sun Qinyang sent the Queen Phoenix to keep an eye on them, and no one knew what they were planning. A full month passed. The Imperial City and the 10 immortal kings were in a stalemate, and Zuyun found more and more monsters. The Immortal Emperor was overjoyed, knowing that if the situation continued to develop like this, they could swallow up all the immortals in one fell swoop and make those immortal kings become empty. By then, there would be nothing to fear. Just as Zuyun continued to take Leng Bing away, City Lord Shui woke up again. He found the Immortal Emperor and Day Immortal King. Are you going to open the passage to Dragon Demon Valley? The Immortal Emperor asked lightly, but a smile appeared on his face. Yes, Your Majesty. City Lord Shui said respectfully. Okay, the Immortal Emperor nodded, and said, the position of the Immortal King will definitely be vacant, and then you can sit in the city. I'm afraid Dian can't bear to part with you. The Immortal Emperor laughed and walked towards the bedroom with Day Immortal King and City Lord Shui. Your Majesty, Dian has been guarding there for so long, I don't know if he can't wait. Day spoke at the right time on the side. The original plan was to start the passage to Dragon Demon Valley after City Lord Shui woke up, but he never thought that because of the sudden incident, it was temporarily changed, and the teleportation array was led to the back mountain, so that the hundreds of thousands of reinforcements from the 3 cities could come in. This also made City Lord Shui, who had finally recovered, fall into a coma again. It shouldn't be, after all, Zuyun has been to Dragon Demon Valley before. The Immortal Emperor naturally thought that Zuyun had met the great Yan Immortal King. Little did he know that he had met him the first time, but he disappeared the second time. Moreover, when he was attacked by the river immortal official, the dragon demon king was also injured. Start preparing. There are still more than 10,000 demon dragons in the Demon Dragon Valley. This is the news brought back by the transformed demon dragon. According to past experience, this month is enough for those demon dragons to recover their spiritual intelligence. The immortal emperor wanted all these demon dragons to come over, so he took out some immortal crystals taken from the desolate stone mountain and handed them over to City Lord Xue to set up the formation. This is. Feeling the power above that was far more surging than the fake immortal crystals, City Lord Xue's hands were shaking. Expand a larger passage to let all the demon dragons come over. The immortal emperor smiled and ordered. I will definitely live up to your expectations. But this will take a lot of time. City Lord Xue thought carefully and said. It's okay. The situation is temporarily stable now. Don't be afraid. Then your majesty, I'll start. City Lord Xue took a deep breath and began to change the array pattern of the teleportation array. In addition to repositioning, more array patterns need to be carved so that this array can withstand the immortal power. At the same time, in the Demon Dragon Valley, in an extremely hidden cave. Where am I? The Demon Dragon King woke up and looked around in a daze. As his vision became clear, he found his location. Dragon King, in your own nest. A familiar voice sounded on the side. Dian, is it you? Where is Zuyun? Seeing the tired Dian Immortal King, the Demon Dragon King was full of disbelief. But when he heard the word Zuyun, Dian Immortal King was even more surprised. Zuyun? I didn't see him at all. On the contrary, I saw him set up a formation and trapped you, so I tried to break the formation, rescued you and brought you here. Speaking of this, Dian Immortal King also smiled bitterly. In order to rescue you, my immortal roots were damaged a lot. You mean, Zuyun trapped me in the formation? The Dragon Demon King had a strange look on his face. He helped Zuyun withstand the fierce attack of the river immortal official at that time, and almost lost consciousness. The Dian Immortal King was not there, and he probably heard the noise and rushed out of the forest. Since he didn't see Zuyun, and he was in the formation set up by Zuyun, I think Zuyun was out of trouble. Immediately, he smiled bitterly. Dian, is there a possibility that Zuyun put me in the formation to protect me? What? To protect you? This time, Dian Immortal King was also stunned. After thinking carefully, it was really possible. Zuyun and the Immortal Emperor reached a consensus. Although it was unknown whether they had a deal or a sincere friendship, if Zuyun wanted to harm the Dragon Demon King, there was no need for him to do so. Yes, I was ambushed at that time. The Dragon Demon King told the details of what happened at that time. The face of the Dian Immortal King suddenly became ugly. If that's what you said, if Zuyun solved the river immortal official, he couldn't find you. The Dragon Demon King said helplessly, it's not a big deal if he can't find me, but you were injured for nothing. At that time, the Dian Immortal King heard the noise outside and rushed to the broken immortal river, but he only saw traces of fighting and didn't see anyone. He couldn't leave, and he didn't dare to go to the other side of the river alone. In desperation, he had to try his luck in the forest. He found the Dozhuan Xinyi formation set up by Zuyun, and found the Dragon Demon King in the formation through his immortal roots. He mistakenly thought that Zuyun had taken action, so he used excessive defense to forcibly break the formation and rescue the Dragon Demon King, but he also paid a price. But who knew that this was actually a misunderstanding? It was also the reason why Zuyun came back to find the Dragon Demon King but couldn't find him. At this time, boom! The sound came from outside the forest, shaking the earth and mountains. At the top of the cave, countless bells and stones were broken and shot straight at him like sharp arrows. The Dragon Demon King quickly turned into a human form to dodge. His body was too big. and the Dian Immortal King also dodged in a panic. Fortunately, the vibration was only for a while and soon stopped. Was it Zuyun who did it? The two looked at each other and felt that it was possible. Let's go and take a look. We don't know how the Dragon Demon Valley and the Imperial City are doing now. They quickly reached a consensus and rushed to the broken Immortal River. An hour later, they looked across the river and saw the yellow sand desert. As far as they could see, there was a black column rising to the sky. The black column seemed to be rising to the sky. A closer look showed that the black column was more like a mist that was constantly lingering. De Yan frowned. He couldn't understand. But the Dragon Demon King's face changed drastically. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzhuan Xianxia. Chapter 1465. Dragon King, this is. Finding that the Demon Dragon King had not spoken, Dian Immortal King turned his head and immediately noticed something was wrong on the Dragon Demon King's face. Devil energy, this is devil energy, and it is very pure devil energy. The Dragon Demon King's voice trembled, revealing a trace of fear. Immortal King Dian was still puzzled. From the moment he appeared in Dragon Demon Valley, he knew that there was a source of demonic energy in the yellow sand gobe. This has existed in the Dragon Demon Valley for many years, thousands of years. No, the original demonic energy will not move, but look at those demonic energies. The Dragon Demon King couldn't even utter a complete sentence, and his whole body began to tremble. Dragon King. Immortal King Dian gave a low drink and said, "What on earth is going on?" The Dragon Demon King paused for a moment and said, "We, the Demon Dragon clan, are born with demonic energy. The reason why we come here to isolate ourselves from the world is actually to avoid being used by the extraterrestrial demons in the fairy kingdom. But countless over the years, the demonic energy in the valley will naturally accumulate more and more. On the other side of the yellow sand gobe, countless demonic dragon seniors have actually laid out the ancient dragon formation with their lives, which is to absorb the demonic aura in each demonic dragon's body. Get together in one place. You mean, there is a place to store magic energy over there in the gobe?" Now, Immortal King Dian somewhat understood. He had always been curious about how the demon dragons in the Demon Dragon Valley solved the problem of demonic energy affecting the mind. Hearing what the Demon Dragon King said, he had a vague understanding. Yes, all the demon dragons on the other side of the Duanxian River will be affected by the ancient dragon formation. Taking advantage of the dragon power in the formation, they dare not cross the Duanxian River. After a certain period of time, they will go to the ancient dragon formation. As long as they get closer, the ancient dragon formation will absorb the demonic energy in their bodies. Although the effect is not very obvious, as time goes by, it will naturally add up. Actually, Dian Immortal King said with a little panic in his eyes, these demonic dragons did not regain their consciousness by themselves, but the ancient dragon formation sucked away the demonic energy, and then the demonic energy was all in one place. That's right, the Dragon Demon King nodded, but subconsciously slowly backed away, as if he could stay away from danger. Now that this source of demonic energy is being used by others, I'm afraid, the Dragon Demon Valley will no longer exist. Is it Zuyun? Dian Immortal King murmured, but immediately denied it. It's not Zuyun, it must be Xianxia. In the mountains and forests, he saw the vision when Xianxia broke through. And as a person from the Immortal Kingdom, he also recognized that Xianxia's breakthrough was the mist immortal route. Looking from a distance, the magic pillar reaching the sky is clearly black mist. If it were him, we would be in trouble. The Dragon Demon King looked at Dian Immortal King with difficulty and said, "Dian, you can't enter the Duanxian River. In fact, I can leave you behind." But Dian Immortal King's eyes were extremely firm, looking at the yellow sand gobe, and said, "Dragon King, I am already dead, why should I drag you to be buried with me?" No problem, you can bring this news to the imperial city along the Duanshan River. If I hear, maybe we can delay for some time. Let City Lord Shui stop opening the passage here to prevent official Hexian from entering the palace directly. Dian, the dragon demon king, took a deep breath and said, "You are worthy of having my demon dragon bloodline." Immortal King Dian laughed, suddenly bursting with pride, and said, "I am the queen of the demon dragon, but I am also the queen of the immortal people. I am the immortal king, and I am also a person of the immortal kingdom. The immortal people are responsible for the rise and fall of the immortal kingdom. Dragon King, just go. Dian, take care, I'm rushing to the imperial city now." The dragon demon king knew that he could not waste any more time, and at the same time he also had his own thoughts in mind. After arriving at the palace, he insisted on asking the palace to open a passage, and then see if he could summon the 10,000 demon dragons and kill them back through the passage. Kill the Hexian official to this point. Such pure demonic energy was used by Xianxia. If he appeared in the fairyland, the consequences would be disastrous. Although the demonic power in the body of the dragon demon king is disordered, after transforming into his true form, he can swim quite fast in the Duanshan River with the help of his own body. Not long after he left, the demonic dragon valley began to tremble again. On the mountain side of the forest, the ancient trees swayed and countless green leaves rustled down. And in the yellow sand gobi, the dust was flying and moving closer to the black pillar that reached the sky, as if forming a huge tornado. As time goes by, with the Duanshan River as the boundary, the yellow sand gobi has been completely wrapped in yellow sand, and even the Tianhe pillar cannot be seen clearly. There are tens of thousands of demonic dragons over there. I don't know if this river immortal officer will suck away the demonic energy from their bodies. In this way, it will actually restore their intelligence. Immortal King Dian murmured to himself, feeling the vibrations coming from his feet getting stronger and stronger. He knew that Demon Dragon Valley was over. In the forest behind him, towering ancient trees were leaning this way and that. On the side closer to the mountain wall, the mountain was broken, and countless huge stones fell down, leaving huge deep holes in the ground. At the same time, the Duanshan River also began to surge, which forced Dian Immortal King to retreat. In order to save the Dragon Demon King, his immortal roots were damaged a lot. If the river water were to contaminate them again, he might not have the chance to delay time. Now, he only hopes that Xianxia will not be so fast. Several hours passed. The Dragon Demon King emerged from the broken immortal river in the imperial city. After locking his position, he jumped up and flew over. Hold head high. Before the monks and immortals could react, countless demon dragons shouted in unison. How did the Dragon King come out of the broken immortal river? The transformed demon dragon was stunned, and then quickly went to meet him. Sun Qinyang and others also let down their guard. And the dragon roars of the group of dragons were also transmitted to the teleportation array. Is there a change in the city? The immortal emperor frowned and planned to go out to see. If the enemy attacked, he would need to sit in the palace. Your Majesty, you can start the formation. At this time, City Lord Shui put down the last piece of immortal crystal in his hand, and a mysterious power spread in the air. The immortal emperor stopped immediately. Don't open it yet, you guys follow me out to see the situation first. This teleportation array can be said to be the last escape trump card in the palace, and once City Lord Shui opens it, his power will be exhausted, and it will take at least 1 month. Let's go together. The great knight Immortal King immediately pulled Shui Xianxia and ran to the highest point of the palace with the immortal emperor. Your Majesty, the immortal emperor. The Dragon Demon King naturally recognized the immortal emperor and shouted from afar, open the passage quickly and bring Dian back. The immortal emperor was stunned and said, Dragon King, has something happened in the Demon Dragon Valley? Big changes, said the Dragon Demon King with red eyes. Xianxia, it's Xianxia, quickly open the passage and bring Dian back. If possible, let my people follow me to kill Xianxia there. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1466. All the dragon demons raised their heads, just waiting for the immortal emperor's order. But who would have thought that the immortal emperor did not agree? Although the imperial city is peaceful at this time, but there are still nearly 800,000 troops 100 miles away. When the dragon demon king came out of the Duanxian river, he saw some peace in the imperial city and thought that the danger of the imperial city had been resolved. Unexpectedly, the imperial city did not seem to have resolved the crisis. No one knows whether those 10 traitors will come back again. Although Dian is important, I can't risk it. The immortal king seemed to be talking to himself, seeing that the dragon demon king looked a little lonely, and then said, "Don't be anxious, tell us about the situation in the Demon Dragon Valley, so that we can have a plan to deal with it." The dragon demon king calmed down. He could become the king of the Demon Dragon Valley, so he naturally had his own wisdom. Knowing that the immortal emperor was also thinking about him, he told the story of what happened in the valley in detail. After learning that there was a 9/10 chance that it was Xianxuan's fault, a deep sadness appeared between the immortal emperor's brows. Xianxuan is fine if he doesn't rebel, but his rebellion will be shocking. Hidden beside him for tens of thousands of years, it shows that his mind is extremely deep, and the rebellion of the immortal kingdom must have been led by him. The immortal emperor listened quietly, but when he heard that Zuyun was missing, he interrupted the dragon demon king's words. Dragon King, Zuyun, and a spiritual demon cultivator are preparing to solve this matter. We will stay here and wait for their return. Is Zuyun okay? The dragon demon king suddenly looked happy. Yes, he is fine, and he also told me when he came back that he could not find any trace of you, and he was eager to deal with the 800,000 troops, so he ignored the dragon demon valley. Unexpectedly, Xianxuan, there was such a commotion there. Speaking of this, a strange color flashed across the immortal emperor's eyes. With so many immortal kings, he always knew who was dissatisfied. But he didn't expect that Xianxuan was the real culprit and that he was causing such a big commotion in Demon Dragon Valley. An hour later, the immortal emperor and the dragon demon king finally reached an agreement. He can take all the demon dragons that originally belonged to the Demon Dragon Valley back, and the imperial city will also send immortals from Dian King City to save the savior. The dragon demon king thanked him repeatedly, but was stopped by the immortal emperor. This is what I should do. If I had not been able to escape, I would have gone over to help. But you also know the current situation. Speaking of this, the immortal emperor also let out a long sigh. At this time, Ergu suddenly stood up and said, "Immortal Emperor, since the Dragon King said there is demonic energy over there, why not let me try it?" Daegu also stood up immediately and laughed. "Yes, Ergu is a demon cultivator. There is no way he can deal with those demonic energies. Also, since Ergu has gone, I will definitely go too. Anyway, he can, the strength of both of us is insignificant here. If we go over there, we may not be able to save immortal King Dian." Big Go also knows Ergo very well and knows that he has received some pointers from Lengbing and wants to give it a try. Maybe he can make another breakthrough. It seems that with Ergu's talent, his cultivation is greatly affected by his own self. If he wants to improve, he needs more immortality. And obviously, there may be something to gain over there in Demonic Dragon Valley. The immortal emperor was a little hesitant. He knew that these two people were Zuyun's childhood friends and had an irreconcilable relationship. It's okay for him to agree, but if something unexpected happens, he can't explain it to Zuyun. At this time, Tu Duduo also volunteered and said, "Immortal Emperor, I also want to go and give it a try." The Immortal Emperor had a wry smile on his face, and when he was about to say something, Sun Qingyang smiled sweetly and said, "If I didn't have to guard this place, I might as well want to take a look." Immortal Emperor, just let them go, Zuyun is not being petty. People who make their own choices, if something happens to them, Zuyun will not blame you. In that case, I have nothing more to say. I hope you can successfully kill the traitor He Xianguan and gain something more at the same time. The Immortal Emperor clasped his fists, then called City Master Xue and signaled him to go and prepare. Then, he took out the tortoise shell and copper coins, and said solemnly, "I'll make a fortune for you." Everyone was immediately overjoyed. The Immortal Emperor's hexagram is naturally very accurate. However, each hexagram will cause a lot of damage to the Immortal Emperor, so generally it is not an important matter, and the Immortal Emperor will not take the initiative to calculate it. After concentrating, the Immortal Emperor poured out the copper coins, and everyone was looking forward to it. After a long while, the Immortal Emperor's face became solemn and he said, "There are not many variables in this trip, so it can be considered a near miss. But everyone, you also need to be careful." At this time, news came from City Lord Xue that the teleportation array was ready and ready to go at any time. So, the Dragon Demon King led a group of demon dragons and rushed over with the three of them. The teleportation array lasted for about half an hour, and they all stood in the Dragon Demon Valley. On the other side of the Duanxian River, the sky is full of yellow sand, but there is no way to cross the Duanxian River. Immortal King Dian was fine, which made Dragon Demon King let out a long sigh of relief. "Dian, this king is back." The Dragon Demon King immediately said happily. "Dragon King, something big is going on, something is not going well." Immortal King Dian smiled bitterly as he looked at the dragon demons who returned to the Dragon Demon Valley, as well as Big Dog and three other people. In the Imperial City, waves of monsters rushed to the Imperial City, and after receiving instructions from Zuyun, they would gather at the corresponding location after entering the city. They were separated into 4 tribes and lived on the east, west, and south sides of the Imperial City respectively, protecting the open space outside the palace. A few days passed again. Zuyun rushed back to meet the Immortal Emperor again. "There is a change in Dragon Demon Valley." The Immortal Emperor told Zuyun the news, no matter how big or small. "You mean over there?" Zuyun's eyes widened, and at the same time he knew why he didn't find the Dragon Demon King. But he was more surprised by the great changes in Dragon Demon Valley. He didn't expect that He Xianguan actually escaped from the canyon and went to the yellow sand gobe. "Yes, the situation is not good now, Zuyun, what do you think?" The Immortal Emperor was not without worry, and he didn't know whether to deal with He Xianguan in Dragon Demon Valley or continue to prepare to gather the monsters of the Immortal Kingdom. "Fellow Daoist Zhu, why don't you, leave it to me?" Lengbing gained a lot and took the initiative to stand up. "You?" Zuyun was stunned, and then he understood that Lengbing was interested in the demonic energy over there. After countless years of accumulation, the amount of demonic energy there is probably not a small amount. But he didn't know how He Xianguan did all this. "Yes, I'll go over," Lengbing winked at Zuyun, and he immediately understood what Lengbing meant. This was to take the opportunity to test the Thorn Demon. "Are you sure?" Zuyun asked immediately. Others thought he was asking Lengbing about how to deal with the River Immortal official, but they didn't know that he was asking if he could handle the Thorn Demon's counterattack. "Of course." Lengbing raised his eyebrows, called the Thorn Demon, and walked quickly towards the broken Immortal River. He was also a cultivator in the spiritual world, and the broken Immortal River could not affect him at all. "I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills." Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1467. Friend Daoist Zhu, bring me the map, and I'll mark the new monster gathering point for you. The immortal emperor said a little tiredly. He had done some fortune telling for Big Dog and the others before, but it was also a loss. Zuyun took out the map and handed it over, but said, "Most of my time is wasted on the road. Now I have a brand new idea and I need the help of City Lord Shui." The immortal emperor smiled bitterly. "City Lord Shui is in a coma at the moment, so I'm afraid he won't be able to help you much." Zuyun was dumbfounded, and then he remembered that the immortal emperor had indeed said it just now. After thinking about it, he said, "Then you can mark it first. I will go to find out the other party's reality first. If possible, I plan to ask the king of Dawang City to help." The immortal emperor frowned. There is nothing wrong with it." Zuyun looked into the distance, clasped his hands behind his back, and said, "The fairyland is everyone's fairyland, and they also have responsibilities. In addition, these monsters gather here, and they also need someone to lead them. Do you want the demon saints to come too? This is a good idea." After seeing the immortal emperor agreeing, Zuyun smiled casually and said, "Yes, that's what I meant. In addition, I have something else to discuss with the immortal emperor after the matter is resolved." The immortal emperor shook his head and said, "You have helped me so much. You can say anything at any time. Why wait until this matter is resolved? Besides, I have given the position of immortal emperor to Tianqing, and I am just short of ascending the throne. Let's talk about it then. At this time, I just want to say hello to you." Zuyun was not afraid that the immortal emperor would disagree. He was just worried that saying it too early would affect the immortal emperor's state of mind. He is bound to win the Qingping immortal kingdom. Of course, it will actually be beneficial to them after Qingping Fairy Kingdom is integrated into the universe world. The original power of the universe world has been increased, and Zuyun's strength will also increase accordingly. Similarly, immortals also have more hope of ascension. Instead of borrowing the heavenly way from the spiritual world, it is better to ascend from the world of the universe. At least, the world of Dazu will not be threatened by any threat for the time being. Is it better than the current situation in the spiritual world where evil cultivators are rampant? What's more, after going to the spirit world, they may not even be as good as ordinary young monks, and have no ability to protect themselves. Having learned from the mistakes of Ludong City, there is no chance that it will be used again and become a material for evil cultivators to practice. Ken. After the immortal emperor marked a few points on the map, he returned it to Zuyun. After Zuyun took it, he waved to Sun Qiniang and rushed towards the Duanxian River. He wanted to escape hundreds of miles away through the Duanxian River without anyone noticing, and then return to King Dawang City after obtaining useful information. At this time, the Lingjian sect was in the confused sword formation. Yezhi sat cross-legged in the center of the formation. But Menghui was tied to the stone pillar. The confused sword formation continuously sucked the power from Menghui's body, leaving her unable to resist. "Yezhi, why did you tie me up?" Menghui said with great grievance. "You are not Menghui." Yezhi opened his eyes suddenly, but did not dare to look directly into his eyes. "Why am I not Menghui? I told you, I just have an extra clone coming back." Menghui whispered softly and sighed, as if he was extremely helpless. Yezhi chuckled and said, "You seem to have forgotten one thing. I am from Wanjianshan. And Wanjianshan is very familiar with Menghui." Menghui's expression froze, and then he became ferocious and said hysterically, "Yezhi, I gave you a chance, don't you know what's good? Let me go now, I will let you live. If you wait until I break through, being imprisoned here will be the day you are buried." "Yo." Yezhi smiled disdainfully and said, "I don't know what to call you. If you were in the spirit world, I might not be able to do anything to you. But this is the mortal world. I don't care whether you are in the stage of transformation into gods, the stage of refining the void, or the Mahayana tribulation. Period. As a nascent soul sword cultivator, I won't take you seriously at all. Yezhi is right. The sword cultivator has extraordinary combat power, and his realm has reached the peak of the late nascent soul. If he hadn't been ready to go to the spirit world, he would have gone there long ago. The reason why Menghui was trapped again at this time was entirely because Nujiao and Menghui merged into one, which made him feel a hint of crisis. After much thought, he made a decisive decision and trapped the person in the confusing sword formation first. This confused sword formation was created by Tang Tiangang, the genius of the formation. The main formation I was equipped with magic-absorbing spiritual power. At that time, Wanjian Mountain was in order to trap Menghui, who was still in the pill formation stage. Absorbing the demonic energy in Menghui's body, it became the source of power for the confused sword formation. While weakening Menghui, it can also increase the strength of the imprisonment. Menghui cannot break it at all. It can be said that it was tailor-made for her. Of course, it would be more appropriate to call her slave at this time. Nujiao occupies the dominant position, and her body is naturally full of demonic energy. If Menghui had not taken away control of her body, this formation would not be able to trap her at all. But except Nujiao, no one knows what Menghui is doing now. Yezhi, wait. Yezhi dismissed it and closed his eyes again. In his opinion, Nujiao was just incompetent and furious. As for how to solve it, he plans to stay here until Zuyun comes back. But before that, he could not look directly into Nujiao's eyes no matter what. Not long ago, he almost suffered a big loss. Fortunately, Zhu Yunzhen left a few talismans with him, so that he didn't get lost in Nujiao's eyes. King Dawang City. Everyone out. Longwu was very surprised. That's right, Water Avatar nodded and said, the main body is now staying at the gathering place of all the immortal kings to keep an eye on the situation. There is no need to keep any more people in King Dawang City. The speed of using the water escape technique alone in the Duanxian River through water incarnation is almost the same as that of the original body, but it is more concealed and will not be discovered at all. So Zuyun left his body there, and the water incarnation conveyed the message here. We can leave first. Those immortals can go with Xiaoji. Longwu knew Zuyun's plan, nodded, and went to summon a group of demon saints. To be honest, they almost went crazy here. You go directly to the palace. Remember to take a detour when you are 100 miles away from the palace. If you are discovered, the plan will be affected. I still want to minimize the unnecessary casualties in Qingping Fairy Kingdom. I know. Longwu left 3 words and left. Yu Changkong stepped forward and said, Friend Zhu, you don't want us who have less than 300,000 to deal with 800,000, do you? Immortals compete to see who has more pseudo-immortal power and is more durable. But being outnumbered, if they were to kill them forcefully, their only option would be death. Don't worry, you don't need to take action. Water Transformation smiled slightly and said, when the time comes, I will let Ji Tianqing command you. After saying that, Zuyun stood up and flew towards the city lord's mansion. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1468. Zuyun, you are making it too difficult for me. In the city lord's mansion, Ji Tianqing was frowning. It was okay for him to tell fortunes, but he really didn't know how to act with hundreds of thousands of people to scare the other party. When the time comes, you can shout in unison to make them sincere. You are about to become the immortal emperor, it is impossible that there is no one in the country, right? For Ji Tianqing, Zuyun also has his own arrangements. When the immortal kingdom is integrated into the great universe world, he plans to let Ji Tianqing govern himself. And in the future, as the great universe world becomes more and more perfect, he also believes that the cultivation here will eventually form various systems. Spiritual power and pseudo-immortal power coexist. Perhaps, there will be more powers. For example, the magic beasts under the command of Xiaolu, and the 12 major demon tribes. Perhaps, there will be other demon tribes in the future. Before he entered the Qingping Immortal Kingdom, in fact, the great universe world had already seen unique plants and creatures. In time, there will definitely be changes. This shows that the great universe world is developing in the right direction. Well, if I didn't know you wouldn't cheat me, I wouldn't agree to it. Ji Tianqing reluctantly agreed. Luckily, Yu Changkong and Yu Changming were also efficient and quickly gathered people. Just walk along the broken Immortal River, and be careful to stay 100 miles away from the people over there to avoid being discovered. After arranging the plan, the water incarnation also quickly escaped into the broken Immortal River and joined the main body. At the same time, in the Demon Dragon Valley, the yellow sand gradually began to settle. Lengbing stared at the other side of the river and said in a deep voice, "I didn't say anything, you must not cross the broken Immortal River." De Go said dissatisfiedly, "Senior Leng, you don't want to take all the spirit and demon energy for yourself, right?" He felt sorry for Iargo, of course, his realm was low, and now he couldn't see what was going on over there in the yellow sand. "Don't worry," Lengbing said with a laugh, "as long as I have meat to eat, Ergo can at least have a bowl of soup." However, the river fairy official may have become a demon cultivator at this time, so I will go and test his strength first. After all, you have to see if the soup is hot before drinking it, right? "Big dog, I'm not in a hurry," Ergo said, shaking his pigtail. "The Immortal Emperor said that this trip will be safe, but the premise is that you need to pay attention to variables." Big Dog responded, he was just complaining to Ergo, and saying one more word would at least make Lengbing have a deeper impression. "Hey, you do," De Go turned to look at Tu Duoyu and said, "I don't understand, what are you doing here?" Tu Duoyu said embarrassedly, "Uncle Meng, Master said before that the disciple has not seen much of the world, so the disciple followed to see. You have to choose the right time to watch the fun." De Go curled his lips and said, "You have to follow me later, be careful. Neither Iargo nor I have ever accepted a disciple. You are Xiaozhu's disciple, just like ours." "That's what I mean," Iargo also interrupted, "don't be impulsive." Disciple got it? A touch of gratitude flashed into Duoyu's eyes. Although the two uncles were in the same realm as him, Tu Duoyu did not show any disrespect. The words were impolite, but they were all taking care of him. Tu Duoyu secretly remembered it in his heart, muttering to himself. After coming here, he has been refining his qi, hoping to improve his realm a little more. Qingping Fairyland is full of spiritual energy, and he is hungry and thirsty, just afraid that if he misses this village, there will be no more shops. The forest was completely destroyed and in a mess. The demon dragons transformed into their true forms and all lay on this side. On the other side of the yellow sand desert, there are more than 10,000 demonized demon dragons, and no one knows whether they are awake or not. Even if they are awake, no one knows whether they are used by the river fairy officials. Fellow Daoist Leng, if you go there later, remember to be careful. A trace of reluctance flashed in the eyes of the Dragon Demon King, and he said, "If my people are not in a good state of mind, the overall situation is important. If I can kill them, I will kill them." Lengbing nodded and said, "If I can spare them, I will try my best to let them go." The Dragon Demon King was speechless and choked. He didn't know that Lengbing was doing it all for Zuyun's sake. He knew it better than anyone else. To solve the danger of evil cultivators in the spirit world, he had to rely on Zuyun's power. Although Zuyun's realm was far weaker than his, as a cross-tribulation period, he had a hunch that Zuyun had a promising future and would provide great help for his ascension. A 5 spiritual root casual cultivator who could defeat the 5 elements sect, achieved this level. It is not just talent. There are many rare qualities. Leng Bing believed that he would not make a mistake. It's almost time. I'll go over and take a look. You, look for my signal. The yellow sand fell a lot again. In the distance, the black pillar loomed. Leng Bing patted the thorn demon under him, then jumped over the broken immortal river, and ran towards that side. We should also be ready. The dragon demon king sighed, and his low voice reached the ears of every demon dragon. Leng Bing ran wildly in the yellow sand, and his attention seemed to be all in front of him. He said to the thorn demon, with the demonic energy there, your strength will be enhanced a little bit, right? The thorn demon roared in response. That's good. Leng Bing heard the affirmative response, and suddenly changed the subject, saying, you shouldn't betray me, right? The thorn demon's body stagnated slightly, but then it quickly reacted and continued to roar. Although I control you, I also promised you that after ascending, I will send you back to the outer domain. This is what we both need. But let me be frank. If you dare to rebel against me, I will fight to the death and kill you. Leng Bing's tone became a little tougher, and then he looked straight ahead. A hint of murderous intent flashed across the eyes of the thorn demon, but then he retracted it. It was afraid that if it revealed some clues, it would be discovered by Leng Bing. Now, its strength is limited, and it is suppressed by the magic beast and can't resist at all. But if it has the help of the spirit demon in the Tongtian demon pillar, maybe it can untie the shackles of this magic power on itself. But it doesn't know that Zuyun and Leng Bing have been prepared for this. Don't use people who are suspicious. The thorn demon is an outer demon who wants to invade the fairyland and regards the human race as a great enemy. Then why would the thorn demon willingly become a human race's beast pet? However, Zuyun and Leng Bing did not reveal any such information, which made the thorn demon think that he would not be on guard. Even Leng Bing's question just now was just a warning from Leng Bing after seeing the demonic energy. Little did they know. After knowing the situation here, Zuyun and Leng Bing both regarded this trip as a test for the thorn demon, and at the same time they could deal with the river immortal official, just killing two birds with one stone. After another hour of running, a lot of yellow sand fell again, and the sky-high black pillar was already clearly visible. Did you find anything? Suddenly, Leng Bing stopped, looked straight ahead, and asked the thorn demon. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1469. The thorn demon growled in response, a sneer flashed in Leng Bing's eyes, and then disappeared. One man and one beast, keep moving forward. Soon, they approached the heaven-bearing demonic pillar. Faintly, they could also see a figure. That must be the Xianxia. Whispering, Leng Bing gave instructions to the thorn demon. Charge into it and kill the man. The thorn demon itself is not too strong, mainly due to its ability to lay out innate formations to trap people. Leng Bing's move was his final test of the thorn demon. The thorn demon hesitated for only a tenth of a breath, but still obeyed the order and rushed towards the magic pillar. Leng Bing also took the opportunity to prepare. As long as the thorn demon shows the slightest hint of rebellion, he will immediately attack it, and at the same time, he will also send out a signal to let the people from the Duanxian River rush over. But what Leng Bing didn't expect was, before the thorn demon rushed into the magic pillar, he suddenly felt a splitting pain in his head. No, this is the thorn demon trying to get out of my control. Leng Bing was shocked. He never thought that the thorn demon would not attack him, but would try to escape. No, the thorn demon is very cunning, we need to let them help. Leng Bing made a decision immediately. Fortunately, this pain would not have any impact on him. He immediately took out a talisman from his arms and quickly crushed it. The talisman turned into a streak of fire and soared into the sky. It was a firebird talisman made by Zuyun. At the other end of the Duanxian River, the Dragon Demon King suddenly stood up. The signal from fellow deist Leng has come, let's kill him. Hold head high. Behind him, all the demonic dragons in the forest raised their heads and let out deafening roars. Being able to fly, he chose to fly directly over the Duanxian River. And those who can't fly will drift away. At this moment, none of the demonic dragons hesitated at all. This is the time of life and death in Dragon Demon Valley. It's time for us to get going. The big dog took a deep look into the distance. There was not much yellow sand left in the sky, and the magic pillar was clearly visible. Ergu, are you afraid? Ergu asked back, are you afraid? I'm not afraid. Me too. The two of them jumped into the air, flew away, and rushed in front of the demonic dragons. Two master uncles, wait for me. Even excess smearing will fly quickly and keep up. It's unnecessary, remember what we told you before. The big dog warned him that he had never seen Tu Duduo take action before. When he was first in the palace, he always relied on talismans to kill enemies when facing millions of troops, so he thought that he didn't have many means, so he should take more care of him. Uncle Meng, it's okay, Master has taught me many skills. Tu Duduo said firmly. Anyway, just take care of it yourself. After saying that, Big Dog took out his sword and said, two dogs, let's go. The two landed on the ground, stepped on the yellow sand, and ran away. Apply the extra step on your feet and use the secret of immortality without falling behind at all. The Dragon Demon King brought the flying demon dragon and passed over their heads. But soon, in the other direction of the Tongtian magic pillar, the ground shook. At the same time, the yellow sand was lifted up again. That must be our tribe over there. Dragon Demon 5 immediately changed direction and growled, I'm going to take a look. You continue to rush to the rescue of fellow deist Leng. Roar. The demon dragon responded, and the Dragon Demon King turned around and left. Ergo, let's also help fellow deist Leng and kill the Hexian official. We monks should have an advantage. The big dog's words were approved by the second dog. The two just watched the Dragon Demon King leave while they continued to run wildly. Seeing that they were only a few miles away, the magic pillar changed again. I don't know if it was because the thorn demon rushed into it, but all the demonic energy began to solidify and slowly gathered together. Something has changed, be careful. Ergu reminded him that as a demon cultivator, he could clearly feel the changes. The more solid the demonic energy is, the more powerful it will be when it is released later. The same as you. The big dog suddenly drew out his sword and ran into the wind. He had already seen Leng Bing and quickly approached him. Fellow deist Leng, what's the situation? The big dog looked directly at the transformation of the magic pillar and was deeply shocked by the majestic evil energy. The situation is not very good. As Zuyun expected, the thorn demon rebelled. I was afraid that he would join forces with the Hexian official. As soon as he finished speaking, the magic pillar suddenly changed. With the magic pillar as the center, countless demonic energy that was still shrinking and solidifying suddenly spread in their direction. No, the thorn demon wants to set up a formation. Leng Bing and Zuyun had experienced the magic array of stabbing demons and knew how powerful it was. They held the big dog and the two dogs in one hand and retreated towards the back. Tu Duduo, who was a step too late, managed to catch up, but was swallowed up by the magic circle. Superfluous. The big dog roared suddenly, but it was too late. Leng Bing didn't expect it, but the situation was urgent and he only had time to pull one person away, not to mention that he didn't notice Tu Duanduo. This formation is not a killing formation, we will break it from the outside. Leng Bing was relatively calm. He took out one of his magic weapons with his backhand and smashed it towards the black light curtain. Unexpectedly, a figure suddenly floated out of the magic pillar. It's Xianxia. He stood in the air, with the magic pillar behind him. The inexhaustible magic energy gave him endless confidence. He, I didn't expect that I would turn a disaster into a blessing. Are you the helpers invited by Zuyun? Die. Xianxia raised his hand, and a demonic energy like a surging river immediately surged out of the magic pillar, rushing towards them like a flood. Get out of the way. Ergu felt the power of it, and suddenly pushed Daegu aside, and raised his long sword to meet it. Ergu. Daegu climbed up from the ground and saw that the river water swallowed Ergu. His eyes were about to burst, and he raised the Fengguo sword and stabbed forward, and a phoenix fire rushed out. Attacked Xianxia. You dare to fight against the demonic energy with such a trick? Xianxia was very disdainful, and lightly snapped his fingers, and a demonic energy appeared again in the black pillar, and it melted with the phoenix fire, and then disappeared again. The big dog knew this would be the result, so he didn't use the sword as a killing move, but just took advantage of the situation and jumped up. Sword cultivators must fight in close combat to exert their strongest combat power. Come on, all of you. Let you also blend into this evil spirit. The river immortal official spread his hands, like a king looking down on the world, allowing the big dog to attack with a sword. At this time, Leng Bing turned his hands into palms, and the sky changed color, and heavy rain began to fall. The rain fell here, and all turned into ice cones, covering the river immortal official. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1470. I have endless demonic energy. No matter how strong your spiritual power is, how can you be a match for these demonic energies? Official Xian was completely unafraid and arrogant. He is the master of pseudo-immortal power, and now he is able to use these demonic energies with ease. At the same time, his whole person turned black. Not only was he dressed in black, but his whole person also became extremely dark. He just moved a little, and the demonic energy turned into countless black spots and faced the icy rain. The tiny sounds echoed together, unable to hurt him at all. Leng Bing was not surprised. Such a huge amount of demonic energy even made him a little excited. Naturally, he knew how powerful it was. Fortunately, he was also a monk in the tribulation period and had fought with countless evil cultivators. These methods of Xianxia are not surprising. He turned around and covered his hands with clouds. In the sky, the rain condensed into a thick mass, and then turned into a huge black ice sphere again, falling from the sky. Oh! In response, Xianxia just smiled contemptuously and also raised his hand. But with this palm, he failed. Leng Bing poured all his soul into this huge black ice ball. Under his control, the ice ball avoided his blow with great dexterity, and at the same time, it hit the black screen below heavily. Although the thorn demon wants to be separated from him, it is not that easy to completely break away. Leng Bing had already reserved a hand, but the stabbing move made him unable to react. If he can control the thorn demon again, he is completely confident that he can use the thorn demon to control the demonic energy. No matter how bad it is, he can still affect the river immortal official. At this time, the demon dragons also arrived. Leng Bing yelled, "You attack the light screen and rescue two Duduo." A group of demon dragons, one after another, just like the snake demon at the bottom of the crack at that time. Boom! 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 The sound is endless. These demonic dragons cannot fly and their strength is low. They can only hit them with their powerful bodies. The yellow sand rose up again and was sucked into it by the Tongtian demonic pillar. Ha ha ha, I have reached a consensus on cooperation with that extraterrestrial devil. You can't even think of succeeding. When Xianguan saw this, his eyes showed a look of madness. But Leng Bing was not surprised, he had already expected this. Presumably, Thorn Demon surrendered to him before because of the situation, so cooperating with Xianguan was a matter of course. With or without cooperation, you will die. Leng Bing also has his own arrogance. In this world, he doesn't worry about lack of strength at all. It's just a matter of how many methods Xianguan has. But at least, he can't see it now. When the Dragon Demon King comes back, if he can bring back those demonized demon dragons, he might be able to deal with the River Immortal official without needing to stab the demon. Suffer death. Leng Bing roared angrily and began to recite the magic formula in his mouth. His magic power also came from the fairy world and was a method belonging to the real demon clan. This is also his greatest confidence. As he recited the spell faster and faster, the magic pillar also faintly changed. Xianguan realized that something was wrong and took a step back. After dodging the big dog's sword, he suddenly shouted, "Stab demon, haven't you killed that kid yet?" Roar. In the black formation, the roar of the thorn demon came. And Xianguan's words also stunned Big Dog and Leng Bing. The thorn demon was actually helpless against the most inconspicuous boy, Tu Duduo. Dago suddenly thought that Tu Duduo was Zhu Yun's only disciple. He must have obtained Zhu Yun's true inheritance. It was not surprising if he had any ability to save his life. In this case, he doesn't need to worry, he just needs to concentrate on saving the two dogs. Staying here, he couldn't use up his strength, and the two dogs were still missing, in the river of demonic energy. Fellow Daoist Leng, I leave it to you, I'll go find Ergu. The big dog also knew that he could not play any role if he stayed here, so he simply left and plunged into the Black River. Ha ha ha, fellow Daoist man, I leave this to Leng. Leng also wants to show you how to use these demonic energies. At this time, Leng Bing also recited the magic formula and suddenly shouted, swallowing the sky demonic technique. After the words fell, Leng Bing put his hands together and closed the void. The demonic energy that reaches the sky actually trembles. Then, a stream of demonic energy surged out of it, like a tributary in a river, rushing toward Leng Bing's hands. Xianguan was shocked, he didn't guess Leng Bing's move at all. At first, he thought Leng Bing wanted to kill the assassin, but later he thought Leng Bing wanted to kill him. Then, I thought Leng Bing wanted to save people. Constantly reversing, he guessed every step of Leng Bing wrong. Until this moment, he didn't know that Leng Bing was trying to pull out all the firepower and suck away his demonic energy. The tributaries became much thicker in an instant, and the magic pillar became smaller at a speed visible to the naked eye. Official Xian was shocked and shouted angrily again, "Don't worry about that kid, come out quickly to meet my enemy. If something happens to me, you won't be able to survive." But unexpectedly, this time, the thorn demon didn't respond at all. On the contrary, the light array suddenly cracked. I saw Tu Duduo, standing proudly, looking up at the panicked Xianguan. "Ha ha ha, you are worthy of being Zhu Yun's disciple. Tu Duduo, if you have any big moves, just use them, Leng will sweep the formation for you." Leng was overjoyed and laughed wildly. He knew the abilities of the Five Elements sect, and some of his moves were unexpected. But in this Jingping Immortal Kingdom, there is no realm requirement. Immortals are even weaker. "Don't worry, senior, I'm here." Tu Duyu's eyes were like torches, and he punched hard. Qinglong fist. As soon as the Qinglong took shape, he punched again. White Tiger fist. Suzaku fist. The three phantoms of the beasts went away. But Tu Duyu felt that it was not enough. He used the four beasts' fist 3 times. He always felt uncomfortable if he didn't use the last punch. Suanwu fist. Finally, he punched out. The huge phantom of Suanwu rushed out from the fist, as if following the three phantoms of the beasts. However, these four punches did not hit the Xianxia directly as he expected. Instead, they stopped in front of the Xianxia. The phantom was like a living thing, staring at the Xianxia in front of the magic pillar. Suddenly, the four beasts roared together, and then they rushed over at the same time. Boom! The light lit up, and the river immortal official was quickly swallowed up. Not only Lengbing was shocked by this momentum. Tu Duyu couldn't believe it. The master didn't tell him that the four-direction divine beast fist had such a change. This. What's going on? Roar. At this time, a black shadow suddenly jumped out from under the magic pillar and ran wildly towards the distance. The thorn demon wants to run. Lengbing immediately put down the heaven-devouring demon art, and turned to condense his soul, trying to control the thorn demon. Suddenly, the thorn demon was controlled and fell to the ground. And Tu Duyu suddenly seemed to remember something, and laughed up to the sky. I understand, I understand. The five elements combine chaos, and the four directions, can also combine chaos. Ha ha ha, I must tell the master this good news.